Welcome to the Power Breakfast Show on Citizen TV this Wednesday, the 8th day of November 2017. My name is Wahiga Mwaura. I certainly hope your Wednesday has gotten off to the right note wherever you're watching us from in Kenya, East Africa and around the world. Now shortly I'll be bringing you updates on the latest news and after that we'll be getting into a very interesting topic with a very dynamic panel here in studio. We are calling this part of the show the Young Turks. We'll be talking about the youth and devolution. Devolution primarily created to bring hope to the counties, but in what ways have the youth benefited from devolution over the last couple of years? And we will be discussing that in studio. Curious to get your feedback. Talk to us on 2242 about that topic. And on social media as well, use the hashtag Young Turks and the hashtag Power Breakfast. Our handle on Twitter and Facebook is at Citizen TV Kenya. And let us know your thoughts. You can also SMS us. Our SMS line is 22422. But before we get into that interview, and I'll be introducing my guest to you shortly, let's take a look at some of the day's big stories. And Richard Onyonka has clinched Kitutu Church's South seat as Member of Parliament, consequently retaining it for the third time. Honorable Onyonka has held the seat since the 2007 general election. The Ford Kenya's candidate garnered 10,122 votes, which is 45.48% of the total votes cast. Jubilee's candidate, Anthony Kibagendi, came second with 5,074 votes. 22,072 was the number of total votes cast, translating to 37.40% voter turnout. The Kitutu Church's South seat was a center of a supremacy battle between NASA and Jubilee. Elections in the area had been called off following the death of the then Jubilee candidate, Mr. Leonard Mwamba, who died in a road accident barely 2 weeks to the polls. Richard Onyonka ditched ODM for Ford Kenya, citing botched nominations before the August 8th poll. All right, that's the first update now. Kenya's opposition leader Raila said yesterday that he wants an interim government to run the country for 6 months, while the constitution is reviewed to reduce the president's authority. Now, Odinga told Reuters in an interview that he was open to talks with President Uhuru Kenyatta over a constitutional review aimed at lowering the risk of violence from minority groups who feel excluded from power. Kenyatta was re-elected with 98% of the vote on the 26th of October after Odinga boycotted the election, saying it would not be fair. The repeat presidential poll followed an election in August, which Kenyatta also won, but which was nullified by the Supreme Court of Kenya on procedural grounds.
That there's a lot of unease in the country. Some people are talking about secession and so on. That those are symptoms of a society that is at war with itself. So we had a new constitution enacted in 2010. We think that it's now time for us to revisit it.
For the sound quality of that clip, we'll be playing you hopefully a better one in the course of the program. But let's carry on with our debate here in studio. Let me introduce my guest, starting from the far right. I'm joined by Julius Owino, also known as Juliani, a musician. Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Right next to him, Willis Misare, a lawyer. Welcome to the program as well.
Thank you.
And Gashan Jerry, a program coordinator at Nairobi Integrated. Welcome to the program as well.
Thank you very much.
We're talking matters devolution, but before we talk about whether devolution has worked or not, I guess the question to each of you is, what was your expectation of devolution in how it would benefit the young person? When we changed the constitution in 2010 and of course went into the new constitution after the 2013 election, what were you expecting to see in terms of benefit to young people? Juliani, let me start with you.
I think for my side, of course, I didn't have any expectations because the perception was it was just another angle, kila mtu kukaa kwa kona yake, based on their tribe. That was the perception then. But now the more we see it work, the more it start making sense. And in regards to young people, I don't see much when it comes to change, because still a lot of young people are coming back to the city center and coming to Nairobi, and they don't see opportunities back at home. So if that is sorted out, I think with the rural and urban migration thing, we don't see a lot happening.
Okay, okay. Still very concerned about the rural-urban migration. That's an interesting point, especially when we're talking about the hawker challenge in the city of Nairobi. We'll talk about that shortly. But Willis, let me also give you a chance to weigh in on this.
Essentially, my expectation of how devolution would help the youth was that the essence of devolution was to decentralize resource distribution to the 47 counties. And to an extent, I think that has been achieved. For example, in our field, we now see slightly younger lawyers who are now getting established in the counties. We have friends who are practicing in Migori. Traditionally, if people were out of law school, we would all be flocked in Nairobi. So to that end, I think the fact that devolution has taken funds to the grassroots, we have youths making startups even outside of Nairobi.
Okay, so you see some sort of change.
I see a slight change.
And Gasha, is that the same for you?
Yeah, sure, but I would wish maybe to take a different direction, because devolution came as a surprise to many of us, having been socialized for the last 50 years with a monopoly kind of government. So when it came,
a centralized government, in fact,
So when it came on board, we were not sure whether it will deliver or else it will just bring the problems of the national government down to the grassroots.
So what do you think has happened?
So right now we've been bombarded.
What's your assessment of
Yeah, things have taken a different direction, and young people and everyone is enjoying now the devolution bit of government.
But if young people are enjoying, then why are they still coming to the city?
I think it has to do with how we were socialized, because the way we were socialized when we were born, we were given a system of governance which we inherited from 1963. So when devolution came in 2013, everyone was expecting some kind of change. So it was a mixed reaction. So after 1 year down the line, we started realizing some of the changes. We started seeing some changes within our community, our institutions, and halfway, that's now when everyone now was rushing to tap on the opportunities.
Okay.
But again now the general election then again came into place.
Okay.
Somebody once said that we are still dealing with the provinces.
Yes, the provincial system.
Because if you think about it, even when it comes to resources, Kisumu tunajua tu is just for fish. Usijui wapi, we just know it from banana. The same way it used to operate, there is nothing different. Usually I was in cacao, and then the kids who were actually washing the car, a kid from Migori, ako form 4, anakamkosha gari when wamefunga kazi, wamefunga shule, ndio sasa arudi back to Migori place alikuwa stay. So bado, as much as we're saying that resources, the only thing that may devolve ni demigods maybe, unaona?
Demigods
wameenda at least wajazani, bado wako Nairobi lakini kwa mahoteli kubwa, but there is nothing really substantial you can talk
about. Let me walk you through what devolution was meant to do once it worked. 5 key points. Number 1, devolution was meant to bring about equitable distribution of resources across the country, especially to regions that have been marginalized for decades. That's 1. Secondly, it was meant to bring about management of governance and public service to the smallest unit of the county. So you move governance from the national government to the counties. Number 3, it was meant to bring about timely and efficient delivery of public services, healthcare, education, infrastructure. Move it from Nairobi and take it to the counties, give each county a chance to develop each of these aspects. It was also supposed to give Kenyans the chance to take development initiatives on their own at their counties. That orders did not have to come from the central government for a county to be developed. And lastly, it was supposed to help the country avoid political tension at the national level by devolving leadership to the counties. Willis, I've read a couple of things there. Have you seen any of that happening in your assessment?
First, I have to appreciate that we are only on our 5th year of devolution, if I might say. We do not expect everything to be smooth by now. One of the biggest problems, I think, is still the mentality. We were used to that old system, where even with devolution, we still hear politicians campaigning and saying, we want to be part of the government so that we can get development, not realizing that the main aim of devolution was to bring these close to the people so that you can determine your own development agenda at the county level. So one of the things, again, is you realize the constitution was itself a compromise document.
In what way?
There are several competing interests. If you might look even into the governance structure, remember, if you read Miguna's Peeling Back the Mask and several other sources, where we had the ODM team led by Raila insisting on a parliamentary system, others on a presidential system, then to ensure that they delivered a constitution to the Kenyan people they had promised, they had to compromise on so many things. One of the compromises which was made was allocating a constitutional threshold of only 15% of the national funds to the devolved units, which I think was a big mistake, because if you look at countries that are serious about their devolved units, like or even the federal systems, we have countries that give as much as 65%, and this ensures development. But now if you have a country where you have 15%, and it's not the whims of the politicians, maybe to play politics with you, to tell you they're supporting devolution, they'll tell you that this year we'll give 30, this year we'll give 32, where there is no law specifically stipulating that. And then we also have devolution on paper, but our mindset is still and if I would get just time to explain this a bit.
Yes.
We had something in the country called the Sessional Paper number 10 of 1965, which modeled our development, where we had areas marked as high potential areas, and these received the bulk of government resources, and the effect was, what they said was that it would have the effect of the trickle-down effect, that would develop everything, then we'd help the less fortunate areas to develop. And I think this is one of the biggest problems. You heard, for example, when Juliani mentioned that we still have that provincial mentality of Kisumu is a fish place, such and such a place is for this, which I don't think is a bad thing. It's a very good thing. It only tells us that each area has a potential that should be developed. But how do you explain, why do we have devolution if under the economic stimulus plan we still have 61 million shillings being spent to build a fish processing plant in Central Province with no natural fishing area, so that the last time this was in the news, it's on the news for receiving 4 pieces of fish a day, while we have fish rotting on the beaches of Nyanza or Turkana, other places with fishing potential. Why, for example, is it that if we spend 400 billion building a railway, hardly 1 year has not collapsed, we are having a deal with Bachtel to build a 300 billion road along the same northern corridor, while our blueprint of opening up the whole country contained in Vision 2030 gave emphasis to opening up the northern frontier, the LAPSET project and other projects. So these are issues that we really have to look into. If devolution is to work, then we have to realize that you cannot, for example, take a 300 billion project in one county and other counties receive nothing other during the same period. Although to be fair, that road will pass through several counties, some would say. The one I'm now making reference to in regards to the 300 million never project that was marked purposely for was in Gishu. Now you realize most of these things are developed on loans that have to be repaid by everyone in the country. Yeah.
But I think that if we talk about the devolution, we have to get back to the spirit of the Constitution. It's unfortunate that the spirit of the Constitution was what unagawana. The spirit wasn't to develop a nation. Even easier to make. That's what you feel. Even you to explain about ODM na nani, you know, like it's not Kenyan, it's more nani na nani. So if you so as a country, first of all, the only thing we need to look at is, and also peer example, I think central government is supposed to give 15% to each county.
Not each county. The Constitution says 15% of the total budget
to the county. So in Amanisha, counties are like just central government ni baba na counties ni watoto. Wame overgrown, wametakuwa wameenda nyumbani, wameenda mafamili zao bado wanagojea baba yao aitishe pesa, unaona. So if that the main thing that I'm trying to say is that our mentality, as we all say, of course we are still young, 5 years, but mentality yetu all through imekuwa ni more of a survival, and a survival based on your community and based on whatever, not based on moving forward a nation.
Okay. Before you come in, we were expecting Samantha Mine of the Ukweli party. She'll not be joining us for today, but hopefully we'll get in another edition of the Young Turks. Meanwhile, we value your feedback. Talk to us about youth opportunities in devolution. Devolution primarily brought about to bring hope to the counties where a lot of young people were languishing, jobless, lack of opportunities, etc. Has that now changed with 5 years of devolution? If it has in your county, let us know in what ways. Talk to us on 22422 and on social media. And if it hasn't changed, what do you think are the key issues? Also talk to us, and I'll be reading your feedback and discussing some of your questions with my guest here in studio. Gasha, come in now.
Sure, Waiga, I wanted to pin out something to do with where we are coming from. Remember, our constitution was anchored on agenda item number 4 during 2008. And our constitution was full of controversy because we were forced into a system where everyone was confused, people were fighting, the country was almost tearing off. So agenda item number 4 brought in the new constitution. Then under agenda item number 4, there were several issues which were supposed to be addressed. One of them was supposed to get the new constitution, the national reforms that we are seeing. So let me talk about the constitution because that's where the devolution is anchored. When you got now the new constitution, you can even see, it was apparent, even some of our political leaders who are seen to be the kingpins, they were even confused. They went for some positions which to them they even felt like they were regretting. They went for senatorial position only to realize it is the gubernatorial position which was more powerful that
allows you to have resources.
Yeah, and that's why you could see some political innuendos within the first 2 years of the devolution government. So what do I want to say? If our leaders who are supposed to bring light to the community were somehow confused, just imagine some rural folks, some urban folks who are ignorant enough not even to understand what is taking place. So what do I want to say? I want to say it this way. First of all, the change was marred by confusion. That's why we took a lot of time to understand what was happening. Again, there was scramble for plum jobs within the county. We realized we have some ministers within the county government, and we have the CCs. So we even saw some of the senior government officers resigning from the national government to come and seek some of these plum jobs within the county. So the young people and women who are somehow referred to be vulnerable were just gaping and looking at some of the things happening. It was like a movie kind of. But now, 5 years,
watching all the changes happening,
thinking after they settle, then our time will come. So we lost. The 5 years, in fact, the young people lost. Because even if you check on some of the positions which were given to young people, you can count them by names from Mombasa up to Kisumu.
Okay,
those are job opportunities. Business opportunities, the same. So, in fact, this is the second cycle which now young people are craving. And that's why you could see even during the political campaigns, we saw young people, in fact, for the first time, the number was burgeoning because they realized devolution has brought some opportunities for them at the political realm, social realm, and economic realm.
Okay.
But now we are reeling from that reality, and now I'm thinking this could be now the second chance for the young folks to take advantage of all this.
So is the only way of taking advantage applying for a job? Is that the only way I can benefit from devolution?
No.
Because not everyone can get a job in a county government or so forth?
No, in fact, if young people can agree not to spend their time maybe WhatsApping and watching movies, just to go through the websites of these county governments. You know, for the first time we're having 47 different websites for county government, full of information, full of resources, and full of opportunities. If they can be flipping through those websites, in fact there is a lot.
Inakapua kwa nini? Inakapua kwa website.
Yeah.
Inakapua kwa website, but on the ground it doesn't reflect. Ukienda kwa ofisi, and unakaa mimi, first of all,
unakaa wewe ni kumaanisha vipi? For those who are watching
business community. No, but what I'm trying to say, okay, of course I'm not trying to say that it's nimbaya.
Yes.
What I'm just trying to say is that as young people, all through we used to say that, oh, young people, you're not going out for opportunities and whatever. That's what we used to say before. But young people have been deliberately marginalized so that they can be taken advantage of across the country. So right now, as a young person, you can, the 30% thing about tender.
Yeah, in fact, that one is not working.
No. So the young people are deliberately marginalized so that wako screensaver kwa rallies, so that they are the ones to be used for violence, so that they're the ones who can be always begging. And there's a friend of mine who shared this statistics that make sense kwangu sana. Alisema na sijui kama ni ukweli. The 0.9 young people contribute 0.9% to the economy. So the majority wana contribute 0.9
something percent.
So inamaanisha huyu jamaa kwanza ana buying power, purchasing power. Hizi ni chochote. Inamaanisha huyu jamaa as a young person, unless you contribute. Sasa nikiwanunia chai kama ya kina nani ya kina Marco
unapata sauti.
Naweza kupatia sauti because mimi nimenunua chai, but kama ni chai ndacha.
You respect the person, of course, with the buying power.
Yeah, exactly.
And that makes a lot of sense. Will is coming.
We are really painting a grim picture of the whole situation, which is...
you don't think it's very... And someone has asked you a question. Actually, let me pose that question to you. Someone is saying, good morning. I'm asking that guy, I guess now he's assuming you because you're the one who spoke about fish projects in central Kenya. Are you sure that these projects are benefiting all the youth, like in Kieni, Nyeri County? All this is helping some few guys who are friends to those leaders. One day may benefit from these fish projects, but not majority of the youth in Nyeri County, for example.
That was exactly my point, because if it's brought, it's supposed to benefit the whole community, yeah? And like we said, youths are the majority in the community. That's why my point when I raised that was there are potential areas for each segment of this country. And what I was trying to say is now, getting our priorities right. Why, for instance, would we invest 61 million in a fish production plant or a fish processing plant in an area with no fishing potential? Because you see, what all those farmers they are now saying, nobody even trained them properly. Cats and dogs and everything steal the fish from the pond. While you have areas where people already have a concept of what fishing is, all they need is the plant to help them. So that those who will be doing the fishing bit and those who get employed in this factory to process the fish, the youths of Kieni, Nyeri, or wherever is, I'm sure there is something that they can specialize in their area which they would not struggle with. So that is another thing I was saying, that we need to realize the potential of each area of our country and exploit it, and not force things down people's throats everywhere. Okay. Now back to the point I wanted to raise. It is true that youth still contribute very little to the economy. It is true that youths are being used, as he said, for screen savers from political runs and everything. But if we choose to only look at this negative picture, then we are not going to make much progress in my view. There are a good number of youths who are doing impressive things in this country. A lot of startups run by youths are coming up. The youths have benefited from devolution. I don't know what impact it might have, but take for example, the initiative by the Mombasa County for developing playing grounds.
Okay, yes.
Can explore their talents, from where they can be scouted and given opportunities. We have youth projects that are into farming and other things. So if we choose to discuss more of these projects that are making an impact, we will draw more youths to doing such, instead of measuring on the negative aspects that only makes youth to look more disparate and all. So I think we should spend more of our time telling them, look, there's a group of youth in this area that came together, approached the county government, went into this. There might be small things, but they are making a change in their lives and in the lives of their community. Okay. There are youths who are into chicken farming and all, the youths who are into several other sectors. So are you lecturing your panelists? Basically telling them,
what you just said, you know what you just said.
I'm telling you, we should spend so much time painting the negative picture.
Think about it.
It makes others to lose even more.
Okay. You have to, if you don't say if you don't specifically say your symptoms, out of the so we are not.
We have been saying our symptoms for the last 5 years, in my opinion.
We have been saying for the last 50 years. That's why it's go up. No. So, but
okay, with regards to the evolution, that is
okay.
Okay. When you wanted to take it,
I would wish to state this to my colleague here that look at where we are coming from. As a nation, 50 years down the line, a major change happened within the country. Look at what happened on February 1st, 2008. You know, all this started on 1st February 2008, when we had the Grand Coalition government. Yes. And when the committee of eminent personalities, led by one Kofi Annan, came into place, then we saw Musalia Mudavadi and Martha Karua signing this accord, where our constitution was anchored. And what informed to have devolution within the constitution? One, because the levels of poverty, the levels of engagement of people, the levels of inequalities. There was no cohesion for the entire country. So when we talk of everything is working out very well, let's first of all agree that there was no political will, the goodwill of the political leaders to have the devolution work.
Although in all fairness, he's not saying everything is working very well. He's just saying, can we for a second,
Yes.
take a break from the bad news,
Yes.
and let him finish. So
Let me finish.
Go ahead.
Then you know what would have happened was massive civic education, so that we understand now systems have changed.
Yes.
But there was none of civic education that was taking place. So for us, we assumed business as usual, and that's why many people took advantage of the ignorance of so many even learned colleagues within the country. Because one, Waiga remember very well, in 2008 there was the National Youth Forum, which was supported by the U.S. Embassy, and even some of us were taken to U.S. to learn some of these civic engagements. In fact, for me, if I would have been asked for that time, the most powerful position was the senatorial position, because even in US some of the senators are very powerful, and when we were taken through the system of governance in US through the new constitution, because when we came back we supported this constitution we supported in distributing more than 1 million constitution, which by then was led by Interim Govt, the presidential candidate, who
the opposition official
the official opposition leader Interim Govt. So we distributed 1 million draft constitution to young people from Mombasa to Kisumu, and we were just organizing town hall meetings just to take them through about this constitution. But do you know, some of the counties we were told so and so have read the constitution, so you don't need to read for us. You
so
can
young
imagine,
people miss an opportunity there. I'll come back to you. I want to take a quick break.
I mean, when it comes to the constitution, for me, everything is. I'm actually in support of the constitution. I'm in support of the devolution. I'm actually more optimistic about the country and where we are going. The only thing I'm trying to pinpoint at is the spirit of everything that we're trying to do, because the spirit wasn't right initially. That's what you said earlier when you were talking about what when you said watu walikuwa nagawana. Unaona, the spirit wasn't right. So when we start, and then one of the points that you said that to measure as indicators of our success as a country is young people are wanarea makuku, young people are the ones, we're still beggars. We're still beggars in that level, and we cannot, sauti yetu haiwezi sikika. The only way sauti yetu inasikika ni tukishikana pamoja na kwenda kufanya kitu about it. The reason why we are going back as a country is because certain things that used to work before us, the same thing that are still working. One of them is corruption. Another thing is tribalism. The reason why people are easily corrupt and easily tribal is because that's what's working for them. And majority, that's what's working for them. What's your default setting? Ukiwa the first time mtu anatoka Nyeri anakuja Nairobi, ataenda ishi wapi?
Mali tribesmen wako.
Exactly. Mtu anatoka Kisumu, the first place ataingia ni Kibera. Ataingia because uncle yake alimuingiza Kibera kwanza, na uncle yake alikuwa Seremala. Na uncle yake alikuwa Seremala, na ikiwa Seremala anataka kwenda kuchukua passport Nya House. The first thing ataambiwa, mimi najua uncle yako fulani alikuwa tunajua naye kutoka wapi, atakusaidia kugeti passport.
The old way of working.
It's not because if me Mkenya kawaida na business community dream zangu, I go to naenda Nya House as a young Kenyan with confidence and say that a service can be delivered to me because I'm a young Kenyan and I'm a Kenyan, then that's the easiest way of actually sorting out some of those issues. But the spirit was wrong from the word go.
Okay, I can allow you to make a comment. Let me take a break.
When we talk of the spirit being wrong, there are so many things that we now have to ask ourselves. Is it our culture to be, or is it inborn in us to be that selfish or tribal or violent or something like that? Or is it something that growing up in the system has taught you to be? Is it a way of probably standing for yourself or something? Because if you're just going to say, look, we are tribal, we need to change. We are corrupt, we need to change. We need to see, how did we get here in the first place? What made us get this corrupt? What made us realize that our tribal cocoon is where we retreat to whenever we have a problem? So if you identify what got us here and try working on them, then definitely you can change. But if you come and say, look, we are corrupt as a nation, we need to sit back and think about it. You know, if you think about it and don't realize the start point where it all started and how to face the truth about it and sort it out, then you will only remain people who talk and talk and talk and continue with the things as they are.
Okay.
So we have to identify, how did we get here in the first place? And there are some very hard truths that as a nation we must confront. If we don't, then all we will be doing is paying lip service to what we should be doing to get us moving.
Okay. Thank you, Willis, for that contribution. We take a quick break now. When we come back, we can touch a little bit more on what you said. How did we get here as a nation, and of course the impact to the youth, but also moving forward, what can young people do? Giuliani hinted at young people working together. Is that even possible? What does that look like? And of course, we need your feedback. 22422 is our SMS line. Talk to us. Your thoughts. Youth opportunities in devolution. Opportunities for everyone in devolution. Where is it working? Where does it face challenges? We'll be talking about that and so much more on the other side of this break. You're watching The Young Turks on the Power Breakfast Show on Citizen TV. We will be right back.